What is up, guys? Fahir here from AwesomeTuts.com, and let us get started by creating our project and importing our assets. Now, when you click on the Unity icon, this is the window that you will see. And if this is your first time opening Unity, you will not see any projects right here because, well, you did not create any, which is obvious, duh. And in order to create a new project, we need to click on the new button right here. So when you click on the new button, you will be prompted to give your project a name, a path where you want to save that project. Organization name is not important, so we will disable Unity Analytics and it will make that go away. And here you will be able to check 2D or 3D depending on if your project is a 3D or a 2D one. Now our project is a 2D, so we're going to check the 2D box. This is the name of our project, so we're going to name it Awesome Platformer. And I'm going to leave it at desktop. And if you want to save it on any other place, click on these three dots and then you will see a pop-up window and then you will select the destination, be that desktop or, I don't know, downloads folder or, I don't know, your secret folder that nobody should see or something like that. Anyways, we're gonna click on the create project, which is gonna create that project right now and wait for the circle of death to go away and voila, here we are. So, what we are going to do right now? Well, we're going to import our assets and the assets are right here. So you can download the assets from this lecture, hover over at the top left corner, hover over there and you will see downloadable resources. You will have this complete project and you will have these assets. So when you unzip, because that will be a zip folder, when you unzip the asset, this is what you have. Sounds and sprites. So select both of these and simply drag and drop them like this right here in Unity and bam, release them and voila, they are being imported just like that. So this is magic happening right before your eyes. I mean, yeah, this is a free magic show. Anyways, the assets are now imported and we can start working. Now, by the way, if you see this interface right here that is different here, where you are seeing it now for me, and it is different for you, this is because you can rearrange these. So you have the game tab, you can rearrange it like this. You also have the hierarchy, inspector. Here you have the animation, animator tab. Now don't worry, we will use all of these and we will see what they are. But if you don't have the animation, for example, or animator tab, or the console tab, where you can find these tabs? Well, these tabs are right here under window and voila, here they are. So you have here animation, animator, console. And for example, if I remove the console from here, so if I close the tab, we don't have it anymore. If I go under window and click on console, bam, here it is. Usually these tabs are gonna float. So you can select them and you can, well, put them or arrange them wherever you want them to be. Now, this right here, everything that I said is important, so please bookmark it so that you know how can you add tabs that you see me use right here. And by the way, as I said, and you already saw, you can rearrange these tabs and create your own layout however you want it. Probably your layout is like this, the default one. This is your layout. This is how your current Unity editor looks like. So you see it like this, so on and so forth. By the way, these icons right here in the project tab, you see the slider at the bottom right corner right here. You can, well, move the slider to make the icons bigger or smaller. So this is how you do it because I got questions for these, so bookmark it. And by the way, when you rearrange, so for example, you want the scene to be here, maybe you want the hierarchy to be here, I don't know, however you want things to look like, you can go at the top right corner right here and you can click on save layout, give it here a name, click save, and voila, you have your own layout. Now this is my layout. This right here is the layout, how I like it and how I use it. You don't have to use exactly like I'm using it, but this is how I am using it and I am previewing that for you. So all of this was important for you to know because I got a lot of questions. How can we access certain tabs? They are all under Windows, so animator, animation, project, hierarchy, inspector, game, scene, console, so on and so forth. All of these tabs are right here on the window, and I will also say that again when we start using these tabs. Now, the first thing that we want to do is create a new folder by right-clicking here in the project, create, and go here, folder, and I am gonna name this folder scenes. Now, what is a scene? Well, if we go in the scene tab, this right here that we see, this is a scene. In the preview of the game, you saw that we had trees, we had backgrounds, we have players, enemies. All of that was put together in a scene. So you can think of a scene in Unity as a level in your game. If you want 2 levels, then you will have 2 scenes. If you have or want 3 levels, you can, well, have 3 scenes in your game. And in the scene is where we are going to drag and drop our game objects and where we are going to create everything. So scenes folder is where we are actually going to save every scene that we create. So I'm going to go under file and click save scenes like this, and it is going to open this right here that you see, and it is going to prompt me where to save that scene. So I'm going to save it under scenes folder, and I'm going to name it gameplay, and I'm going to hit enter, and bam, this is now a scene called gameplay, and we can start working inside of it. So the first thing that we are going to do is animate our player. If we go into sprites, and then we have here player, voila, here he is. So sprites folder, here it is, sprites, then player, and then select this right here. This is our player. Let me just open him just for a second so that you can see. This is our player. Bam, here it is. So we have the red one and the green one, and let me close it. Now, how can we use our player? Because we saw that we have like 30,000 players in this image. How can we use a single one? Well, when you select it, in the inspector panel, which is on my right side right here, you will see this sprite mode. It is currently set to single. Now, this right here, this image that you see, this is known as a sprite sheet. A sprite sheet is multiple images grouped into one. So all of this player can be one image, this can be one image, this can be one image, so on and so forth. You see what I am, well, or what am I saying? So all of this can be one image, but they are all grouped into a single image, which makes this a sprite sheet. Now, why is this important at all? Well, it is important because when you group multiple images into a single image, you reduce the memory that you use in your game. Because if you use all of these images as separate ones, so separate files, you use more memory for your game. But if you use it as a single image, you use less. So you save performance. And how can you use every individual piece of the image from the sprite sheet? Well, for that, we have this sprite mode multiple. So when you click on the multiple, you need to hit apply here at the bottom. You see, at the bottom of the inspector, hit apply, and then you can click on the sprite editor image right here where I'm, well, showing with my mouse pointer. Click on the sprite editor, and bam, here it is. Here we are gonna slice our image. Now we can slice it on our own by simply going here, and do you see this green rectangle now? So you see it right here, this one. So this rectangle that is now blue, but when you start dragging it, it's green. You slice these images like that. So if I slice this one, now we have it. This is now a separate image. We need to hit apply right here for that to be, well, applied, and we can now use it as a single image. So if I click on the drop down list right here, we should be able to use that single image, and bam, here it is. Now we use a single image. But this is not what we want. We want to use all of these images. So I'm gonna go again into the sprite editor, select this and delete it. So delete it. And we're gonna use Unity's automatic slice. Simply click here at the top left corner of this sprite editor. So you have here slice, which will open this pop-up or drop-down window. And the type is gonna be automatic. Why automatic? Because Unity is pretty good at slicing things. It will detect everywhere where it needs to slice, and it will slice this in 99% of the time perfectly. Sometimes you will need to fix some things on your own. We will see examples of that later on, because sometimes Unity cannot detect everywhere where it needs to slice correctly, but most of the time it will. So when you click on the slice right here, then click the slice button again, bam, and it has now sliced every sprite. So you see, we have this one, this one, this one, this one. They are all now separate. You see, they are all now separate pieces. Bam, 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 bam. And you need to hit apply again right here so that these changes apply to the actual file. And look at this now. So now we have multiple pieces. You see here at the preview at the bottom right corner. So you see we have multiple pieces and we can use all of these pieces and we can animate them. And how can we now animate these pieces? Well, before we actually do that, I'm going to go back into the assets and I'm going to right click here and I'm going to create a new folder. And I'm going to call this one animations. So the animations folder. Inside of the animations folder, I'm going to right click and create a new folder. This is going to be player animations. Because I like things to be grouped. I don't like to put things all around the project folder and so on and so forth, which will make things messy. So how can we animate our characters? How can we animate them? Well, as you can see here, we have player 1 image. So the first one is _0 image, then second one _1. From _1 up to let's see here, _8, our player is walking. So you see from _1 up to _8, player is walking. How can we animate that? Select all of those images by holding shift. So select from image _1 up to _8. And now simply drag and drop them right here inside of the scene, view, and release the button, which will prompt you like this. It will open this pop-up window to create a new animation. I'm going to save it into the animations folder, player animations, and I'm going to call this one player walk. So player walk animation. This is how I'm going to name this one. And I'm going to click save and bam, here we are. So how can we preview this animation? We need to go into the animation panel right here. If you don't have it, this is what I said. I will also mention these when the time comes. So if you don't have the animation tab right here, go under window and click on this animation tab. If it's floating somewhere like this, dock it wherever you want to dock it. We talked about that a moment ago. And now in order to preview the animation, you see here we have the recording button, this red one. We have the play button. We have the go to next keyframe, go to the end of the animation clip, similar like you have on a video recorder or on an audio recorder. So if I click on the preview or play the animation clip right here, you see the player is previewing. We can see that in the game tab as well. You see him? He is now being animated. So our player is being animated. Even if we run the game, if I hit the play button right here, you see the player is actually now being animated and he runs. Now I'm also gonna select this game object here in the hierarchy. His name is player _ 3C _ 1. I don't want it like that. I'm gonna hit enter and I'm gonna rename it to player, not player, come on, not play yet, player. So here we have it. This is our player. Now one thing that we want to do is add another animation because we don't want our player to be like this. When the game starts, our player is not moving. He will be moving when we give him the commands to do so, but when we first start the game, he will be in his idle animation. How can we now create his idle animation? Well, for that, we need to go into the animation panel or tab right here. And you see here, right below this play button where we have previewed the animation, we have the drop down or a drop down list, and we have player walk animation, which is the current animation that we have created. When you click on it, you will see the name of the current animation that is selected, and you have below it create new clip. When you click on create new clip, it will prompt you again to create a new animation. A new animation clip is actually a new animation. I'm gonna store it in animations, player animations, and I'm gonna name it player idle. So player idle, and I'm gonna click save and bam. But now this animation right here is empty. If we preview it, nothing is there to be previewed. It is empty. How can we add frames to this animation? Well, for that, I'm gonna move the tab right here because I need to drag and drop the first sprite, which is _0. So remember, we took from _1 up to _8 to create our walk animation, and idle animation is only going to be one frame, and that is going to be this _1. Simply drag and drop it right here. Bam. And here it is. You see these two dots? These are, or this is a frame inside of our animation. So this is a frame. If I move back the animation tab below, and if I hit preview, you see the player, you see how he is now? You see here, he is like in the walk mood or in the walk state. When I click play now, he is in the idle animation. Now also, one thing that I want to show you is in the animator tab. So this is the animator tab. We have the animation, and let me just move this right here. So we have the animation and we have the animator. What is the animator? In the animator, we can determine which animation is going to be the default one. So the starting animation. If I run the game now, player walk animation is his default animation, which will start right away when we run the game. What if we don't want that, which is, well, the point of this, which is what I mentioned a moment ago. We don't want the player to start walking right away when we run the game. Instead, he's gonna stand still. How can we select this idle animation to be the default one? Well, that is very simple. Simply right click on it. So right click on that animation and click this set as layer default state. When you click on that, you will see now that this layer is yellowish, or yeah, this is the yellow color. I know, I don't differentiate colors. Anyways, this is color yellow, so it has now yellow color, indicating that this is the default state of our player. If I hit the play button now, notice he is now in his idle animation. You see, he is standing, he is not walking like a moment ago. You can, well, set him here to this one. So when you set this to be the default state, he will start walking because that will be his default animation. But the idle is the actual default, how we are gonna start. And one other thing, you see the player is in his walk state because this is the animation here in the sprite, or this is the first frame. We can change this also. You simply need to select this player 3 underscore or 3C underscore 0, the first frame, this one, and put it right here in his sprite renderer. You see the sprite? If you put it right here, bam, you will change the appearance of the player. So it's right here, as you can see. In his sprite render, in the inspector panel, when you select the player, here is where you need to drag and drop this one right here. So this underscore 0 image, and now the player is in his idle state. Now, this was it for our player animation. We will talk more about animations. We are still not done. We need to add the movement and animate everything, so we'll see how that goes. But enough for the first video. We have imported the assets, organized the project, created our player animation, talked about sprite editor, talked about sprite sheets, and how can we create animations in Unity. So just in this first video, we learned a lot. And until next video, Fahir here from AwesomeTunes.com. I will see you then.